Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Union Seacoast and our Thanksgiving Day prayer. From me to you, I'm thankful for each one of you. My mom, my father, my brother John, my sisters Jill and Donna, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncle, my dearest Aunt Patty, relatives who are still with us, but life puts them at different places around our country and around our planet, friends who I've shared many meals with, and friends that I've shared only a few. When we start out, the faces who sit around our table begin to evolve. They do this from year to year. We get invited to homes, and we invite others to our home. Families grow and evolve. They move away and they move back. And we feel nostalgic thinking of those past times, but we are grateful because within that nostalgia is a sense of melancholy. And buried in the melancholy, and perhaps overlooked, is a sense of how much that we have loved. This Thanksgiving tradition started back in England 1400 plus years ago, when two men, in order to practice a type of religion fit them, discussed a line from the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 20. Where two or more are gathered in my name, I am there with them, or in their midst, depending on your version of the Bible. But it's a fairly nondescript line. But these two men, William Bradford and William Brewster, hardened their resolve to practice their religion. Because in their day, it was a crime in England to practice anything other than what the Church of England practiced. And for the good and bad that this set into motion, what began as the Pilgrim's Journey to these shores that tonight I'm visiting, I'm down on Cape Cod, but shores that tonight I sit perhaps less than 30 miles from, beaches that my family and I have walked many, many times. And I've always felt blessed that our feet have walked the same sands that they did so many years ago. From the first meal they ate in America, their table evolved. Because many of those who came across on the Mayflower did not survive long enough to get to the first Thanksgiving. Yet those survivors were grateful. Because gratitude stems from all the moments in life, from each moment that is shared in love. So tonight I sit here with my family and I'm grateful for that. And I can reflect on how many meals I've had with them. And I can also think of the times, especially during the pandemic, when we could not be with each other. But tonight and over this holiday season, I'll sit with my Casey and my kids and their loved ones. And I also think of last Saturday when our church held a Friendsgiving for our church so we can all just gather and simply be. Tracy, I am so thankful for your idea that grew into that loving group moment. And I am thankful for the efforts of all those who made that happen. That's a large part of any holiday meal, creating a cozy corner where we can just simply be. That's what friends and family do. We allow each one of us to just be. Now, I'd like to ask each of you for a moment to think of those who won't be at your table tomorrow. And if you feel a little sad or a little grief, acknowledge that it is okay. I would like you to offer that grief some comfort. Because can you accept that grief also has a job to do? It reminds us of the love that we have felt, that we have shared, and we have given. We invest a part of our heart into all who sit at our tables. And for those in our lives who have passed, take the time to acknowledge the emotions surrounding all that as well. The shortest verse in the Bible comes from John, chapter 11, verse 35. Jesus wept. Does not need to be longer. It conveys all that we need to know. He learned his friend Lazarus has died, and he's telling us it's okay to embrace our grief and feel our loss. It's okay to cry. Then he turns his attention to his friend Lazarus, and it said he raises him. What this is saying is as the grief eases and we turn our attention to that loved one, we raise that relationship to a new level. The physical is gone, but the spirit remains. And eventually we can look at those memories and feel comfort. And we can see and hear our loved one in new moments and new memories and sights, pass something along the road that reminds them of them or a joke. We hear their wisdoms pop back into our head. And that renewed relationship begins to grow. My mother has not sat at our table in over 18 years, but she is still an active, loving presence in my life. Stories of her will abound over the next couple days and tomorrow's table as each one of my family expresses memories. See, our mom met our daughter before we did. We were looking to adopt. My mother met her in Hawaii. And it was my mom who put it all in motion. It was my mom who built the first bond. And how did she build that bond with my daughter? Potato chips and chocolate. But that bond brought that girl into our family 6,000 miles away. You don't let death diminish a relationship like that. And I'm also going to ask you, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, which probably are if you're watching this, to type in the comment box anyone that you may be thinking of. If not their name, then their initials. And if that's not comfortable, then just type in a prayer or a heart emoji or just a smile. And I also ask you if you can reach out to those people that you're thinking of and let them know that you're thinking of them. If the words don't come, they'll know. And if you don't have that type of relationship, or for whatever reason, you can't reach out to them, then just hold that person in your mind and in your heart. And take time over these holidays to allow the good memories to float in. Tell those stories. That's what memories are for. They are there to bring the past into the now, to share, to enhance your life, and hopefully enhance the life of others. It doesn't have to be a holiday meal or Christmas something. It could be anything. I remember my aunt's first husband. He invited all his television executive friends over for a family gathering. And my aunt was a little insecure at the time. And she turned quickly and the roast shot off the platter onto the floor. Her guests, except for my mother and myself, did not witness it. They didn't witness the brang Angus and carrots just take flight. But my aunt looked around the room, looked up at us, winked, put the food back on the plate, took a rag to wipe away the platter and hide any evidence that it slid. And everyone just had a great meal. Perhaps not everyone. My mom and I ate a little bit slower, wondering what we were eating. But it could be any memory. We all have these. I'm sure you have these memories too. Family members, siblings, friends, even awkward, uncomfortable memories become fun tales. And then there's something else I want to ask you. At any given moment in our world, there was someone who was fighting to be brave, strong, in the face of mental struggle, physical struggle, prejudice, crisis of consciousness. But I ask you to hold those that you know and those that you don't know in the forefront of your mind and heart. And I ask you to affirm their wholeness, their health, and their happiness. And then from me to you, I see you in wholeness, health, and happiness, born from perfection into perfection. And I affirm this with all the love that this life has ever given me. I offer that to you. I affirm that it is so. So from my family to yours, from our table to yours, from our hearts to yours. Happy Thanksgiving, my friends.